Zealand versus China, the secret trade war Trump warned us about. What if I told you that while you're dreaming about hobbits and rolling green hills in New Zealand, there's a silent economic war reshaping everything you thought you knew about travel? In 2018, Trump warned about China's growing influence in the Pacific. Today, that warning has become reality, and it's completely transforming where you should be booking your next vacation. 5 years ago, a single flight from Beijing to Auckland cost $800. Today, try one $400s. But here's the twist. Flights to China from the West have never been cheaper. This isn't coincidence. This is strategy. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how this hidden trade war is creating travel opportunities you never knew existed, while destroying others you thought would last forever. But first, let me ask you something. When you think of New Zealand, what comes to mind? Adventure tourism, stunning landscapes, friendly locals. What if I told you that vision is being systematically dismantled by forces most travelers have no idea about? In 2019, something strange started happening in Queenstown, New Zealand's adventure capital. Local businesses began closing, not because of lack of tourists, but because they couldn't compete with prices being offered by new operators. Who were these operators? Chinese-owned companies selling the exact same bungee jumps, skydives, and lake tours at 40% below market rate. Here's where it gets interesting. These companies weren't making profit. They were operating at a loss, funded by mainland investments, slowly pushing local operators out of business. Classic market capture strategy. But why would anyone burn millions of dollars just to control New Zealand's tourism industry? The answer lies 7,000 miles away in Beijing, where Chinese officials had designated New Zealand as a critical Pacific gateway, not just for tourism, but for something much bigger. By 2020, Chinese entities owned or controlled 30% of New Zealand's tourism infrastructure. Hotels, tour companies, even the buses that take you to Milford Sound. But then Trump imposed trade restrictions. Suddenly, Chinese money flowing into New Zealand tourism dried up overnight. And this is where your travel plans get really interesting. So what happened to all those artificially cheap tourist activities in New Zealand? And more importantly, where did all that Chinese investment money go instead? The answer will shock you. While New Zealand's tourism industry struggled to fill the investment gap, something extraordinary was happening in China. Cities you've never heard of were suddenly building world-class tourist attractions. Zhangjiajie, the inspiration for Avatar's floating mountains, received $2 billion in infrastructure upgrades. Guilin built a completely new international airport. Chengdu opened the world's largest indoor ski resort. This wasn't random development. Kindly subscribe and like. This was the money that would have gone to New Zealand, redirected to create domestic Chinese tourism powerhouses. The goal? Make China so attractive to international visitors that countries like New Zealand would become afterthoughts. And it's working. In 2023, China welcomed 130% more Western tourists than 2019 levels, while New Zealand is still at 60% of pre-trade war numbers. But here's the part your travel agent won't tell you. This shift has created the biggest travel arbitrage opportunity in decades. Remember those $800 flights to Beijing I mentioned? They're now $400. Hotels in Tier 2 Chinese cities cost half what they did 3 years ago because the government is subsidizing international tourism. Meanwhile, everything in New Zealand has become 30% more expensive as local businesses try to recover lost revenue. But there's a darker side to this story, and it's happening right now as you're watching this video. In March 2024, I discovered something that travel bloggers aren't talking about. The Chinese tourism infrastructure built with redirected New Zealand money comes with strings attached. Visitors to certain regions must use government-approved guides. Photography is restricted in areas that were previously open. Social media posts about your trip are monitored and sometimes removed. This is soft power projection disguised as tourism development. The same money that once gave you affordable adventure tours in Queenstown now funds controlled experiences in Guilin. The question is, are you willing to trade freedom for affordability? Meanwhile, New Zealand's tourism industry has become a tale of two experiences. Premium eco-lodges and high-end adventures have thrived, catering to wealthy travelers who can afford the new prices. But budget backpacking? Nearly extinct. The hostels, cheap meal deals, and affordable activities that made New Zealand accessible to young travelers have largely disappeared. This creates an interesting opportunity. If you can afford it, visiting New Zealand right now means fewer crowds, more authentic experiences, and better service ratios. The country has accidentally returned to its pre-mass tourism roots, but it comes at a cost that puts it out of reach for most travelers. Here's what I discovered after 6 months of investigating this story. The trade war between these tourism strategies isn't just about money, it's about influence. China is using tourism to shape how Westerners perceive Chinese culture and governance. New Zealand's premium positioning is a defensive response. If they can't compete on price, they'll compete on exclusivity. Both strategies are working, but they're creating completely different travel experiences. China offers incredible value and infrastructure, but with implicit political messaging. New Zealand offers authentic adventure and freedom, but at luxury prices. So which approach is winning? The data might surprise you. If you're enjoying this, kindly subscribe and like. In 2024, first-time visitors to China spend an average of 12 days and $200 total. First-time visitors to New Zealand spend an average of 8 days and $3,500 total. But here's the interesting part. Satisfaction ratings are nearly identical. Chinese visitors report being impressed by infrastructure and value. New Zealand visitors report being transformed by natural beauty and adventure. Different experiences, same level of satisfaction, wildly different costs. This tells us something important about the future of travel. The trade war has accidentally created perfect market segmentation. China for budget travelers seeking cultural immersion. New Zealand for premium travelers seeking authentic adventure. But there's a third option nobody's talking about. What if you could combine both experiences? Here's the travel hack this trade war has created. Fly to China first. Spend 10 days exploring subsidized attractions and cheap accommodations. Then use your savings to fund a shorter premium New Zealand experience. The money you save in China more than pays for New Zealand's higher costs. This combination gives you the best of both worlds, Chinese value and New Zealand authenticity, while taking advantage of the geopolitical tensions that created this pricing disparity. Airlines haven't caught on yet, but there are routing combinations that make this strategy even cheaper. Shanghai to Auckland with specific layovers can actually cost less than flying direct to either destination. So here's my challenge to you. Before you book your next big trip, ask yourself this question. Am I choosing my destination, or is my destination being chosen for me by forces I don't understand? The New Zealand versus China trade war has reshaped travel options in ways most people don't realize. But now you do. The question is, what are you going to do with this information? Drop a comment below telling me which strategy you'd choose, Chinese value or New Zealand exclusivity. And if you found this analysis helpful, hit that subscribe button, because this trade war is just getting started, and the travel opportunities it creates are going to get even more interesting. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for watching.